Hello YouTube world, this is MacDaddy 1911A1 with the Shade Tree Survivalist. Still out on the road. Today I got bombed by our Uncle Fester with the latest installment of the Philosophy of Survival videos. Sent me like 12 texts and I wrote every one of them out in longhand and did a little bit of proofreading working on it. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and read what I've got here so far, and I hope you'll enjoy and follow along, and maybe you'll learn something from it. Today we're doing part 3 of the Philosophy of Survival video, excuse me, and the topic is control versus free will. There are many people and religions, even among Christian believers, who do not believe in choice or free will. That God or fate has laid out the course of your life and you do what you do because of decisions made on some higher plane. In Christian circles, it's called election or Calvinism. This belief system states that God chose who would go to hell and who would go to heaven at the foundation of the world. That no matter what you do, you cannot change your destination. The author worked under a boss who was a pastor of a church that firmly believed in this system. From what I observed of those who believed their fate was set and unmovable, it left them guilt-free to pretty much do and act any way they wanted to. When you called them to the carpet about actions that were not even close to the teachings of the Bible, they would say, "The Spirit of God will not always strive with man." I still haven't figured out what that has to do with a pastor using porn, but what do I know? People who believe this way do not believe they have a choice. So whatever they do and how they act holds no weight with them. Their fate is chosen. Their course is set. They go to church and simply so people aren't sure of their destination. It's kind of fatalism. Why should I try and help that person? If God means for them to live, they will live, whether I give them any help or not. This is the most destructive way of thinking. This kind of thinking makes us flesh puppets, marionettes on a set of celestial strings, being operated by some schizophrenic higher power, who for whatever reason is kind to some and eternally cruel to others. Or if you're not of a religious bent, it is a fatalistic, nihilistic philosophy that says nothing matters, so do whatever makes you feel good. In either incarnation, the author truly hates this kind of thinking. I agree with the author. It's this kind of thinking that destroyed millions of Jews, while Christians beat their breasts and sang louder while the train cars of men, women, and children rolled on to the gas chambers. Even though they start out from a different place, none of the control people do what they want to because they believe the choice has been made for them. Control people do what they want to do because they have the power to do whatever it is that they want to do. One faction blames God, while the other says screw God, and the outcome is generally the same. Self-centered, selfish people. The author realizes you're probably thinking, okay, smart donkey, if control and no control both end in the same pit, then what's left? Please hear me out on this one, okay? The author does not believe in control. However, I don't believe in no control either. I do not believe God created us to be meat puppets. Nor do I believe he chose who goes to hell and who goes to heaven. I believe control is an illusion. Don't believe me? Then why do people die in car wrecks and of diseases and of stupidity every day? Did they choose to die in the horrendous crash? Tell me, did you choose to be 5 foot 2 inches tall with an overbite and a lazy eye? By will alone can you make yourself 1 inch taller or make your hair turn gray or red or any other color? Of course you can't. no more than you can control getting hit by a drunk driver or of having cancer. No, those of us who believe they are in control are self-deluded. And I shouldn't have said those of us, but no, those who believe they are in control are self-deluded. They are under the illusion that they can control their surroundings and drive themselves crazy trying to do the impossible. Learn this and mark these words. You are not in control. What we have as humans is not control, but the power of choice. With choice, you can affect the world around you, profoundly at times. However, affecting the world and controlling the world are two different things entirely. In the realm of choice, we are affected by two kinds of choices: other people's choices and our own choices. The hardest thing for me to accept as a Christian is that we are not able to control the choices of others. Yet we are responsible for how we react to other people's choices. This is what we struggle against: how the choices of others affect us and how we choose to react to those choices. We are ultimately held responsible for all of our choices, and the choices we make in this life affect our eternity. From the beginning in the Bible, we see that Adam and Eve are given a choice. Of the tree of good and evil, do not eat its fruit. The tree itself had no special powers. It was the power of choice bestowed upon us by our Creator. All Adam and Eve had to do was tend the garden and make babies. They had communion with the Creator each day. Then came the serpent. It's worth noting that the serpent didn't go to Adam. He went to Eve. God's covenant was with Adam, but the serpent used Eve to get to Adam. The serpent used a half-truth and a lie to deceive. First he tells her, "Didn't God tell you that you could eat of every tree in the garden?" Eve says, "Yes, we can eat of every tree except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That the day we touch it, we will surely die." The serpent answers with a lie and a half-truth. He says, "You shall not surely die." He doesn't want you to eat the fruit, because when you do, your eyes will be open and you will be as he is. The serpent showed Eve that with free will you have the choice to obey or disobey. Eve looked at the tree and perhaps for the first time understood the full depth of her power to choose. So she ate, then offered the fruit to Adam to eat. Adam knew what the forbidden fruit looked like. Now here's the genius of the serpent. Had the serpent come to Adam with the fruit, most likely Adam would have told him to take a hike. Instead, here is his beautiful wife holding the fruit, its juice still on her lips, saying, "Here, just try it. You'll like it." So he does, and all creation falls with him. Our choices have the power to change the world around us. We as a species fell that day. The universe fell with us. By eating the fruit, we became like God in that we gained a fixed moral compass. We know what is right, but we will always choose what is wrong, whereas God's fixed moral compass only allows him to choose to do what is right. Some would argue that we don't have a choice, but we do, and are responsible for our choices because God has written his law on our hearts to know what is right and what is wrong. Our species died not a physical death that day in the garden, but a spiritual death. Because of Adam's choice, we were separated from communion with God. You see, the whole point of choice is this. The Creator gave us choice because he wanted creatures that of their own free will choose to love, serve, and worship him willingly. The whole point of the Bible is the process of the Creator restoring a righteous relationship between himself and his creation without destroying free will. Every choice we make is like a stone into a mud puddle. The circles of the impact of those choices spreads out to the edge of the water, only to return to the source of the splash. It is the same with us. Each choice we make is a stone dropped into the mud puddle we call the universe. The ripples of those choices spread out to the edges of the universe, eventually making their way back to us later. Only we don't live in a vacuum. Now imagine 10 people around the mud hole, each casting their own stone. All of the ripples meeting and affecting each and every one of the other ripples. Then factor in the impact of billions of people casting their stones at once. On the surface it looks like chaos, but there is a pattern that only the Creator can truly see. The impact of one man making the right choices at the right time can change the world and the universe as we know it. While God ultimately controls the greater arc or path of human history, macro history, He does not control the day-to-day lives of His creations, micro history. With all that being said, we now must begin to understand how choices we make now will impact our future and the future of others. People like ourselves, amongst less flattering names, are called preppers. People who prepare, people who choose to try and prepare for an unseen future of variables and possibilities. Again, as we have said before, it is impossible to prepare for every eventuality. At the same time, the more scenarios you're prepared for, the more choices you have when something does go wrong. While gathering the tools and the skills necessary to make life easier, in my mind, the greatest thing we can do to prepare is to understand that we are not in control, but that we had the power to choose how to live and prepare for tomorrow. Of all the things we do to prepare for an unknown future, the best thing we can accumulate is knowledge and experiences that we can pass on to others. In a without rule of law situation, we must know this: we as humans are social creatures. No man is an island. There will essentially be two groups of people: those who band together to rebuild society and ultimately civilization, and those who band together to kill, steal, and destroy. The choices we make now will decide which one of these groups we will belong to when that time comes. So choose wisely now, so you can choose wisely later. This is Mac Daddy 1911A1 with the Shade Tree Survivalist. This is the end of part 3 of our Philosophy of Survival videos. I hope you gained something from it. If you have any questions, we'd appreciate them. If you have any criticism that is constructive and not simply derogatory, you'd appreciate those too. We don't claim to be know-it-alls, but we are out here to pass on our beliefs as well as to learn from others. So we hope you have a good day, and we'll hope you watch this next part coming up, part 4. Thank you for watching. Mac Daddy 1911A1 with the Shade Tree Survivalist for Uncle Fester, signing off.